Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. How are you all? I am so sorry that I haven't been here for the last couple of weeks. You have completely missed my pink hair saga, unless you follow me on Instagram, which I hope you do. But yeah, I dyed my hair pink for like 2 weeks, so I think I'm gonna have to do it again because all that remains now is like this little pink stripe. So I feel like a massive part of my life you've missed out on. It's really not that big a deal. But I hope you're all right. I'm really sorry that I haven't been here over the last couple of weeks. I did explain on Instagram, obviously I left my job. So in doing that, I've now started my new job and I've started a real routine. But I just kind of wanted to get into that routine and know what I was doing and just kind of get to grips with it all before I came back to YouTube and started doing regular videos, so I knew exactly how it was going to fit in to my lifestyle now, because everything is completely different. It's ever so weird. So I just thought this video I'd kind of sit down with you and have a bit of a chatty catch up and just talk to you about all the changes in my life, everything that has been going on over the recent weeks, and really get into the swing of things. So then as of next week I can really start with the regular videos. Now I did put a poll out on Instagram earlier. If you don't follow me on Instagram, then please pause this video, head over there now. It's at Amber in a Teacup. I put a poll out earlier about my upload day. So at the moment I upload on a Friday, but I was kind of looking into changing that just to see kind of what suited you best. If Fridays suited best, then Fridays it would be. But if another day worked, then I would do it on that day. The poll has only been up for about 6 hours at the moment. At the moment, it's kind of split between Tuesday and Wednesday evenings. So I'm gonna give it a few more hours. So by the time this video is live, I will be able to put in the description box for you what day they're going to be from now on. So if you want to check that out now, and while you're at it, do make sure that you pause this video and hit the subscribe button with your notifications on, so you're always aware of when I'm here uploading videos. So without further ado, as always, get yourself a cup of tea, get yourself all comfy, and let's have a catch up. I hope you're all nice and comfy. What I'm gonna do with this video, I think I'm just gonna go through a few different topics. I'm gonna try and not make this video horrifically long for you, but I do feel like there's an awful lot to catch up with. A lot of it I do talk about on Instagram. There's a lot that obviously has gone on. I have, over recent weeks, I've had my I've had my IVF follow-up appointment, so I'll talk to you briefly about that today, but I do think that in the coming weeks I'm going to kind of do a sit-down video and just kind of review my IVF journey up until now and talk to you in detail about what the follow-up was for round 2. So that is definitely something that is on the agenda for you. But I'm going to talk to you about the IVF, I'm going to talk to you about my job, I'm going to talk to you about my life in general. I am just intending on kind of covering everything. So again, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I did put out a question box a couple of times over the last week or so I know what kind of things you are wanting me to talk about. So I have got a list of all the questions and I am going to try and cover absolutely everything on there. I'm going to try and be really open, really honest with you. Nothing major has happened, like there's not anything that really warrants me being really open and honest kind of thing, but I like talking to you, I like telling you what's going on, so that's exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make sure that I cover everything. So we'll start at the beginning. I'll kind of start with the IVF just on the basis that obviously not much has happened. I've had my follow-up. So long story short with the follow-up, we finally got a phone call. I had a bit of a rant not that long ago because I was expecting a phone call before lockdown. We then went into lockdown. My IVF failed 3 days into lockdown. I was told that I would get a phone call the following week, but I didn't. So I have been waiting for that for a very long time. I sent my clinic quite a assertive email and basically told them I wasn't very happy with the way that this had been dealt with, and I felt that I knew a lot of new clients were being pushed through and new people were starting their IVF, and I felt a little bit like because we weren't paying them anymore, we weren't really relevant, and they were focusing all their time and energy on new clients that were putting money through their systems. So obviously I then got a very quick reply addressing all my concerns, addressing some concerns I had about my results, little things that my doctor had picked up on, like my high prolactin levels that the clinic didn't seem too bothered about. well, I say didn't seem too bothered about, they'd never mentioned. So I did have some concerns. These were addressed, they did ring us back. They basically said that my prolactin wasn't high enough for them to worry about. It was only slightly over what it should have been, so it wasn't really enough for them to really be concerned about it. So that's why it was never really mentioned. So they went into a bit of detail with that. And then on top of that, they also kind of raised with us the reason why it was failing. So I don't know how long you've been here. If you haven't been here very long, then do go back and watch my IVF journey videos. But in a nutshell, the very first round of IVF we didn't make to transfer. We got, I think off the top of my head, it was 6 eggs. I think 2 fertilised, and neither of them made it to the transfer, so we didn't actually have any eggs transferred. That is something else I'm going to do a video on. I've seen a few people talk about that on Instagram recently, about the shock of not making it to transfer, and if I'm really honest, having gone through it twice, I think not making it to transfer was worse emotionally than it failing. So that is something I am going to discuss with you again in the upcoming weeks. So if that's something you're interested in, then do make sure that you subscribe. The second time we made it to transfer, we had 10 eggs, 5 fertilised, and only, again, 1 made it to blastocyst. But even then, it wasn't a full blastocyst, it was an early blastocyst, so it wasn't quite where it should have been. So it wasn't as developed as they like it to be by day 5, and none of them made it in the freezer. Obviously it didn't implant, I'm not pregnant, and yeah, so here we are. One of the issues I raised with my clinic was why it was failing, why we weren't getting any to blastocyst, and why we weren't having any frozen. I was having a look into the statistics of how many do make it that far, and we were really quite below the average. So to me that was concerning, because before we went into IVF, I went on a fertility retreat last year with IVF Babel, which was absolutely fantastic. But I spoke to somebody from a different clinic, and over the year, kind of between being diagnosed and going for IVF, I spoke to a few different consultants from different clinics who, one of them, the exact terminology they used was that we were a clinic's wet dream. The reason for that was because the only issue that we had was my polycystic ovarian syndrome, but that was relatively well managed, and my lack of fallopian tubes. So we had an issue with low morphology, but because we were going ahead with ICSI, that shouldn't have been an issue. So there was no reason why it wouldn't work for us. But obviously we weren't even getting any frozen. Our clinic have basically had a look, and they think the likely problem with that is DNA fragmentation of the sperm, which is a different issue altogether. So that basically means the sperm is broken, in a nutshell. I will post a link in the comment box for you, not in the comment box, I say this all the time like I'm on Instagram. I will post a link for you in the description box just so you can have a look into that if you don't know what that means. But again, I will do a video on this and on my entire follow-up in due course. But yeah, so they think that is why it was failing, so that threw another spanner in the works. Now, Marco and I have decided that we aren't going to be doing IVF anytime soon. I have started my new job now. This job is currently a 12-month contract, which was a big risk for me, leaving a job where I had a ridiculous amount of job security. So I left that job to have a year in this one, hopefully with a permanent contract coming out of it. But it all depends on funding because of COVID. So we will see on that front, but on that basis alone, we definitely cannot go for IVF at any point in the next 12 months because I need the maternity leave and the maternity pay, more importantly. So that at the moment is on the back burner. But as I've said before, it is a case of I wanted to kind of enjoy my life without children and really try and find a happiness where if this IVF never works for us, I want to feel happy and I don't want to spend the rest of my life wishing I had children. So it's one of those where I'm working really hard on my self-development at the moment. I feel like in the last 3 months I have grown so much. Unfortunately not physically, unfortunately I am still only 5'2", but I feel like as a person I have gone on leaps and bounds over the last 3 months and really am starting to feel a lot more in touch with myself and a lot more like I know what I want out of life. I know who I am. I know kind of, I have always been quite a needy person and I have always been a person that has relied heavily on other people to kind of assure me. I have really struggled with my self-confidence. I've struggled with anxiety. There's an awful lot of things that have gone on in my head and in my life over the last 26 years that I think have had a bigger impact on me than I ever wanted to admit. So it's about dealing with those kind of things for me and moving forward, and I feel like over the last 3 months I have made huge progress on that front. So the IVF at the moment is taking a back seat. For that reason, also the fact that at the moment we can't really afford it, there's things that need doing in the house that we have been putting on hold for a long time because of this. So I just want to have a bit of fun. I want to make my house somewhere that I love. And yeah, I just want to be happy. So that's kind of what we're doing at the moment. So as I have mentioned, I have changed jobs. I changed jobs now 2.5 weeks ago. I left my job, which I had been in for 3 years. Now I'm not there. I will talk to you about it. I will tell you what I did. I used to get an awful lot of questions because people picked up on the fact that I did crazy hours. A lot of people picked up on the industry I worked in just from things I'd say on Instagram. I never kept it as a secret as such. I just didn't really want to talk about it on social media. I left my job as a emergency 999 call handler for the police. I did 999, I did 101. I left that job now 2.5 weeks ago because I value my sleep. If I'm really honest with you, I've been doing that job for 3 years. I really loved the job for many reasons. The other side of things, I didn't, in the sense that I wanted sleep. As I keep saying, I really wanted my sleep. But over the last 3 years, obviously I got married, I had my 2 operations, my 2 rounds of IVF, and I just felt like it was time for me to move on, and I just needed a little bit of normality in my life. So that's what I did. I am now working for a learning disability charity, but what I am doing in that charity is I effectively offer information and advice to families of people with learning disabilities. So that is what I do now. So far I'm really enjoying it. It is right up my street. I have always been the type, I'm a massive geek. I say it like it's a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing. I love to read, but what makes me a geek is I love to read legislation, which is really strange. I think I went to uni to do criminology, so it's kind of stemmed from before there, but I love nothing more than reading through legislation, picking it apart and figuring out what you can and can't do and how the law applies to things. I should have been a lawyer, but that is kind of the field that I really do like. I love reading, I love writing, I love all of that. So this job for me is perfect. I'm helping people, which is something I've always done. So before I worked in the police, I was team leader in a children's home, and worked in a children's home for, again, a couple of years. So I've always worked with vulnerable people. That's right up my street. It's something I'm really enjoying at the moment. And yeah, that's it. But it's very strange going from working a shift pattern where some days I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, other days I'm going to bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, to suddenly just having a 9-5 job. And it is taking an awful lot of getting used to. The weeks go so quick. I am not used to just working 5 days on the trot, so I'm used to working 6 days on the trot, and those days being 9-10 hour days. So this for me is just weird. It's really weird, if truth be told, but I love it. It's nice. I've seen more of my friends in the last 2 weeks than I think I've seen them in the last 2 years, because I'm off at the same time as them. So in the evening I'll pop and see a friend for a coffee or whatever, and then at the weekend I kind of do nothing. Like, I literally have nothing to do, but we're in lockdown. So although I'm having a socially distanced night out in a couple of weeks, and I'm really nervous about it because I've been really nervous about going out since this has all started. But my friend and I, we've booked a place and we're going for drinks, and salons etc. will be open by then. I'm on a waiting list for my nails, I'm on a waiting list for my eyebrows, so I tell you now, I am gonna look so extra, I can't tell you. Anyway, off topic. So yeah, it's been very strange getting used to that. Obviously Marco has been off until Saturday just gone, so it's been very strange, but it's been really nice. I really do like working at home, so that's what I will be doing. I won't be going back into the office even after COVID. This was always a home-based role. So yeah, it's definitely been a step in the right direction. I feel a lot more refreshed. I feel a lot more I always thought I wanted to be different. Like, I never wanted to be like everybody else. I always wanted a different job and always wanted just to do something different, whereas actually I really quite like being like the rest of the world, and doing the 9 to 5. And whether or not, you know, in a year's time, whether or not I think what the hell was I doing, well, then I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, but at the moment it was definitely the right decision for me. I needed a fresh start. I needed to start my life away from the IVF in a place where nobody knew anything that had gone on, and I could just start again, and it was definitely the right decision, definitely. I've had a lot of people actually in the request box thing that I did on Instagram, a lot of people request that I do like a morning routine, a day in the life of kind of thing. Now I'm in my routine, so if that is something that is quite popular and people are wanting to do, then yes, I will do that. I'll do the morning routine, I'll do the evening routine, whatever you want, just tell me, I'll do it. Job update. I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it. I just feel so much more refreshed and people are noticing it, which is weird. Like, I'm having people I've never met on Instagram message me and say how much of a difference they've seen in me and how I just seem to be glowing and things. Like, it's barbaric to me, but I can see the difference, and Marco's seen the difference, and he said to me how I'm much nicer to be around. So it was obviously a step in the right direction for me, I think. So another little update for you, based on a video that I have done previously, one I filmed a few weeks ago and uploaded for you, and then one I did around Christmas time was me telling you all about the fact that my best friend was expecting a baby and how I was coping with that going through my IVF, but then on top of that how I was coping now it was upcoming with the baby shower that I'd planned, etc, etc, etc. So one of the questions I was asked about that was whether or not she'd had the baby, how I was about that, and how I found meeting him. So again, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see, yes, she has had the baby. She had the baby last week. He's lovely. He is very little. He's adorable. And I was over the moon, absolutely over the bloody moon. I spent an absolute fortune. I spoiled the baby. I'd got him some clothes. I'd got them a keepsake box. I bought them a voucher for this place called Cook that do home cooked delivered meals for you, because I thought, well, they're not going to want to cook. So thank you to my friend on Instagram at londoner.ttc, give her a follow. She recommended that to me, so thanks for that. But then on top of that, yeah, I'd got her some expert midwife spray stuff. We got him some beer because he loves beer. There's nothing else to that. And then I'd also got her some other bits like some newborn tea stuff that's meant to help with your hormones, etc, 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 and a little book of self-care for new mums. So absolutely spoilt them rotten. And then yes, we did go to meet him at the beginning of this week, and honestly I've been absolutely fine. There was a point the day after she'd given birth and kind of the initial woohoo had worn off a little bit, and a good friend of mine had texted me to see how I was. Afterwards I just kind of, it sunk in a little bit, and I did go downstairs and I got a little bit upset, and it wasn't upset because he was here, it was upset of why is it not me. And it lasted a whole 10 minutes, and then I snapped out of it and I went back upstairs and I dropped her a text, said how's he doing, and she sent me a little picture, and I was over the moon and I was buzzing again. And I always said when he was here it would be different, and it is. And I went round to meet him, and I cannot tell you how much I adore that little boy, and he is just beautiful and I just want to eat him up. But I love him as my best friend's baby, and like the jealousy on that front just isn't there. Like it's just not there. He's lovely, and I just can't wait to see her blossom as a mother and see him blossom as a father and their baby grow up. And already I am making notes of all the embarrassing things that I can tell all his friends on his 18th birthday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being the fun fake Auntie Amber, if that's, you know. So no, I'm completely fine. It was lovely meeting him. I was a little bit nervous, but when I got there, like, no, I was just over the moon, absolutely over the moon for them. And they're such a gorgeous little family. And yeah, what I said stood, that I am so glad that I had a word with myself right at the beginning and insisted on being there, because I would hate to be missing out on this part of her life. And it's taken a lot of work. It has taken an awful lot of work, and there have been days where I've had bad days, but they're going to be. But I was never going to let that ruin anything, and I'm honestly quite proud of myself for handling it the way I did. So yeah, it's lovely. It's really, really lovely, and he is just, oh, he's just lovely. I never thought I'd sit here talking to you about a baby and yeah, being just besotted with this child. It's funny how things change, isn't it? So in other news, lockdown news, Marco has now got back to work, which is ever so strange, really, really weird actually, but it's hilarious seeing him go out to work wearing a mask and this visor, like he looks like he's about to do some kind of science experiment, and it's very weird. But yeah, so he's got all his clients back in now, he's back doing hair, he still hasn't done mine, as you can see by these absolutely horrific roots, but the plan with mine is we're kind of, well, he was going to do it for me weekend before last, but then I put the pink colour on it. So the plan with mine is we are going to let it grow out a little bit more, and then just bleach bath all of this effectively, just so this is finally the white blonde that I want it. And then we'll just blend in the roots, because I quite like the root look, and with me, because I'm so dark naturally, if we have a bit of a rooted look, I don't have to be so regimented and have it done every 6 weeks or risk looking like an absolute idiot. So that is the plan with that. I've had an awful lot of questions actually. I've just had a look on there, but I've had an awful lot of questions recently about some of the outfits I've been wearing. Now I did promise you a haul, but I said I'd put it on my Instagram TV. Anyway, that kind of went to crap. I started filming it, but yeah, it just, when I tried to edit it, it just really wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. But you'll be glad to know that all I've done this month is spend money and buy clothes. So I might do like a little outfit video for you rather than a haul, and then have a haul coming up. So the last haul I did was Nasty Girl, or Nasty Gal, however you want to say it, Nasty Gal. I have seen an awful lot of clothes on their website that I want to order, but I'm a bit conscious of both hauls that I do on YouTube being from the same shop. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts. If you want me to do another haul from Nasty Gal, let me know. If you want me to do a different shop, let me know. Any recommendations, whatever. I need new clothes, so I'm open to suggestions. I've been getting a lot of questions about my joggers that I've been wearing. I've just been living in joggers over the last few weeks, just high-waisted ones. They've all been from Topshop, they've been from Miss Selfridge. They've all been on my Instagram stories at some point, but I will link a couple of them down below. But like I say, if you want me to do this outfit video, then I will do that, and you will see them, etc. going forward. Other questions I had were about my blog and these videos. So yes, these are now going to be regular. They're going to be every week, and like I say, I will let you know what day I am planning on doing them. That will be in the description box, because I will have decided by the time I upload this. But with my blog as well, yes, I am planning on having at least a blog post every week, at least, minimum one. But what I will also be doing is the whole Ask Amber thing that I started. I have got a few that I've replied to that I haven't uploaded on the website, so they are again going to start being weekly things. So if you have got anything that you want to ask, whether it's IVF related, body related, whatever, you want advice on something, it's just a bit of fun, but send me an email at amberinnateacup@outlook.com, and I will get that answered. I reply to every single one, and I will be putting them on the website soon. So yeah, with the blog, one person did actually come through and ask me kind of how, I can't remember exactly what the question was, so I'm just going to have a look at it. Let's have a look. What were the first steps that you took to get into blogging and creating such a big fan base? To be totally honest, I don't think, well, I don't have the biggest following in the world. I think on Instagram now, I think I'm on about 4,500, which is a lot more than I ever expected, if I'm really honest. One, I want to continue to grow. My goal is 10. That is my goal. But at the moment, I'm just concentrating on getting to 5. But I also don't want it to be fake. Like, I'm trying to do everything as authentically as possible. When it came to starting my actual blog, so I started my Instagram page. My Instagram page, I think a lot of you may or may not know, started as kind of like a home interior. But I very quickly lost any interest for doing that. I love decorating my house and all the rest of it, but I'm just not tidy enough to be taking photos of my house all the time, if truth be told. I have more wardrobe than wardrobe, and yeah, I'm not about that life. I'm not about having a pristine house. My house is lived in, so it's crap to photograph, if I'm really honest. But when I had my diagnosis, I decided straight away that I was going to be very open about it, that I was going to upload it. Yeah, I think the day I had my operation, I got my diagnosis, I straight away put it out there, because I was like, I need help. I knew that I wanted to talk to somebody. I didn't want it to be a secret. I didn't want it to be this big taboo situation, so straight away I was out there. I then put it on Instagram, and I think after a few months of being very open on Instagram, and I would talk about things that I think a lot of people a lot of people that followed me at that time didn't feel like, there's a lot of people that obviously talk about infertility and things like that on Instagram. There's an awful lot of them. But the people that followed me at that time were interior accounts or people I knew, or just random people here and there that didn't talk about it. And I still receive an awful lot of messages from people who didn't talk about it. And I think that helped me in gaining my following, that when I was at my lowest, was really open about it. And I think a lot of people resonated with that. And my following started growing from there, if you like. I think when I started my actual blog, I was on about 1,000. But like I say, I would say that 70% of those came from my home interior. But even that, I wouldn't say was a great amount at all. I then started my blog. So I knew my blog was something I wanted to take seriously. So I set up a WordPress blog. I am somebody who can lose motivation very quickly, so I paid for it. I paid for the WordPress, I paid for the domain name on GoDaddy, set it all up and all the rest of it, quite literally just winged it. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just set it up and started. And I started just straight away, and I was just blogging about everything. Doing that, I've now been doing that just over a year. So in the last year, my following has gained around 3,000, give or take. But over the course of that, I again have quite literally documented everything, and I have been really, really open about it. So I think that has helped, definitely. I think the subject matter helps in some ways. It does, but it's a very niche subject. So, and I think unless you resonate with it, a lot of people obviously aren't interested. But yeah, so I set up that blog and carried on with that. And to be honest, I think it started to grow that little bit more. I did a blog post last August when Cambridgeshire and Peterborough's CCG took IVF off the NHS. I did a blog post on that. I posted that and it was picked up by the Huffington Post. The Huffington Post then ran a story on that, linked it to my blog, etc. and it built up the following from there. So I think it is all about your exposure. I think it's about how you market it and how you expose it. I was very lucky with that. And then I went through a period of an increase in followers. It comes and goes in ebbs and flows. There's some days where I gain a lot in a week, and there's other days where I'm losing them in a week at a rapid rate. So I never know if I'm doing anything right or if I'm doing it wrong. I don't really know what my average is on that. I don't really look that deeply into it. But I think it's one of those things where, like, when I started YouTube, for example, I had a look into, obviously I think with YouTube, I never started YouTube with the intention of being like this great big YouTuber like that. I don't know, as much as, of course, it would be lovely, it's not something I think is very easy to do. So obviously when I had a look into that, and you see just how long it takes even on average just to hit 1,000 subscribers, and you have a look at things like that. With anything like this, there are so many people that are trying to do it. There are so many people that are trying to blog. There are so many people that are trying to be influencers on Instagram. There are so many people that want to do that, that really I think it is perseverance, and that's the only thing I can say. My blog isn't anywhere near where I want it to be, but I have every intention of doing everything in my power to get it where I want it to be. But it is, for me, it's just been a case of perseverance. So my steps were quite literally deciding to do it and just think, don't muck about, just do it. I paid for it on the basis that, yes, okay, it wasn't cheap. I say that, I think it was on offer. I'm pretty sure it was on offer when I started it. So I didn't pay that much. It was when it renewed this year, and I got a bit of a shock to the system when it went out of my bank account. But yeah, I think it's one of those where if you're going to invest that time, it's worth it. Because for me, if I hadn't have paid for it, I know that I'd have just gone, no, stuff it. Whereas because I'd paid for it, I was like, no, you need to get your money out of it, girl. Like, go, go, go. So that's what I did. So I do think it's just about perseverance, and it's about writing about what you love. If you don't love what you're talking about, you're not going to do it. I talk about things that I'm passionate about. I don't just talk about anything and everything, sorry. I don't do that. I talk about things that mean something to me and that I have an interest in. If I'm going to write it and I'm bored writing it, other people aren't going to have a great time reading it. So that's kind of just the way I did it. And then on Instagram, yeah, it has just been a case of people sharing my post. I think other people sharing your post is really quite key, as obviously you get that exposure, etc. But I do think it's perseverance. If you're consistent, you're consistent, you put everything into it. I can't stand it when you read things and like people are just trying to fit into certain boxes. Like I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like everybody else. Like the way I try and market myself and create a brand, if you like, is just by being myself. And I would like to think I will never ever ever be anything but honest and open and just authentic, as I think it's really important. I think it's really important. But yeah, I just think there's something about being honest. I want you lot to follow me because you like who I am. I don't want you to follow me because I put on a good persona. So yeah, that's how I've done it, I think. I don't know. Some days I feel really like proud of how far I've come. And then, especially in the last year since I've flipped it to the infertility side of things, yeah, sometimes I feel really, really proud of how far I've come, and other days I think, oh, why aren't you there yet? Like, so-and-so did it so much quicker than you. But everybody has those days. Oh my God, I feel like Hannah Montana. Everybody has those days. Everybody. I spoke about that for a really long time, I'm sorry. But yeah, maybe that's something I will do a video on one day. I don't know, I feel like I haven't got the status to do it yet. Like I feel like there's much bigger blogs than mine, and people who have done much better than mine so far being the keywords there, huns, that are probably more qualified to talk about it than me at the moment. But that's just how I've done it and how I've got to where I am at the minute. And I love everybody that follows me. Like there is nothing I love more than conversing with the people who send me messages. It takes me a while to get back to messages. I've got so many in my requests at the minute that I've just not got round to looking at. So yeah, it's just about managing your time and all the rest of it. But I'm a big believer in life that you get out what you put in. So if you're going to put everything in, then you'll get everything out. Whereas if you're only going to put a half-assed attempt in, then you're not going to get what you want back out. So if you are thinking of starting a blog, then yeah, just consistency, and don't be afraid of what other people think. I think that really held me back at the minute, that at the very beginning, that I was really concerned about, like, people that I used to go to school with that follow me on Instagram, that I have on Facebook, this, that and the other. I was really worried about putting myself out there and saying, this is what I'm doing now, because I was really worried that they'd all be like bitching about me behind my back, whereas now I'm like, huns, I don't care. So yeah, that's my advice. Just stick your middle finger up at everybody and just crack on. Okay, so the final thing I get asked about is just my running. So just a little update on that. Yeah, I managed to run 7k last week, so hey, that's the longest I've ever run. It took me nearly an hour, which I'm not sure, well, I'm not the fastest runner in the world anyway, but I was over the moon with that. So I am stepping in the right direction. I've got to show my jeans because I'm buzzing. Now, I'm a big advocate for size doesn't matter and all the rest of it, and I speak to you about this all the time, but this I am really happy about, because this for me is just showing that actually it is paying off, and it's taking a long time, but I am getting to where I want to be, and need to be for the IVF actually, because that's another thing I didn't include. They told me that I need to lose about 2 stone, so yeah, it's a good job I already started that, wasn't it? So these jeans, how cool is this top, by the way? Literally best thing ever. These jeans I bought just after Christmas. Let me see if I can stand on it. Oh no, then I'm too high up. Right, maybe if I get on my knees. Oh my God. Right, there we go. So these jeans I bought just before Christmas. I couldn't get them over my thigh. So now, look at all that room. All that room. So yeah, I'm buzzing about that, because I can now happily, like, I've got a lot of wiggle room in them. So the running is, wow. The running is finally paying off, so yeah, I'm over the moon with that. If I'm honest, I feel better in myself. I'm getting there. I've had a really lazy week this week. I'm not bothered about it. I've eaten half a tub of Pringles today. Couldn't give a shit. But yeah, it's just, I'm getting there. I have good days, I have bad days. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But yeah, I'm definitely getting there. I'm wanting to aim for 10k now, so that's my next goal. But the weather's just crap, and I don't really like running when the weather's this crap. So my mum has kindly let me use her, I think it's Les Mills, app thing, so I can log on there and do some of the workouts. But yeah, it's all going quite well. My fitness levels are increasing. I'm running further than I've ever been able to run before. And I'm still loading up on whatever I want to eat. So, winner, chicken dinner, really. It's all going well. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so that is it from me, really. That is my little catch up for you. So like I say, if you haven't already, then do please make sure that you subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, leave me a little comment down below, let me know what videos you do want to see going forward, if there's any questions I didn't answer that you want to know the answer to. Yeah, make sure that you follow me on Instagram, Amber in a Teacup, and I will see you on whatever day you lot decide that I'm uploading on. So it will most likely, by the looks of things at the minute, be either Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So we'll see. But yeah, whatever you want that video to be, let me know in the comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you soon. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Love you, bye.